Brian Raison coming at you live from Ohio Stadium. Dr. Raison? Professor? Nah, today it's Coach. Because I want to talk about a real coaching moment. And I'm going to start just right off with this question of what do you do when someone is tailgating you? I mean, they're just right up on your bumper there. Do you ever want to just tap your brakes a little bit? Maybe I've done that. Do you want to wave at them with one finger? Probably not the best option nowadays. So let me, if I can advance my slides, let me talk about just quickly an alleged incident that happened to me one time. So I'm driving along. Maybe I was a little too close to the person in front of me. Maybe they didn't like that. So they finally put on their blinker to turn. I'm like, thank you, get out of the way. I'm hitting the gas to get going now. Halfway through the turn, he hits his brakes. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I had to swerve just a little bit. And I thought, I wasn't going to wave at him, but I'm sure going to give him a look, right? So as I'm getting around him, he turns, I'm looking over. Guess what I saw? Well, one, he was waving at me with one finger, but I also saw my 15-and-a-half-year-old daughter sitting next to me in the seat. We were literally on our way to the church parking lot to help her practice driving so that she could get her learner's permit. And one phrase jumped into my head, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Always respond above the line. I teach this stuff, yet I had miserably failed in that moment. That's why Tim Kite with Focus 3 says this takes, and I'll show you the formula in just a minute, 10 seconds you can understand respond above the line, but it takes a lifetime to master. This idea comes from Urban Meyer's book from a few years, almost 10 years ago, wow, about leadership lessons in life from the championship seasons when we won the national championship season. A lot of football in this stadium. And of course, that's continuing with Coach Day. I love it. So chapter 1, he jumps right in. There's two ways you can respond when an event happens. So that tailgating, my tailgating, that was an event. And when those events happen to us, we can either respond above the line, engaging our executive brain, pausing and engaging, or we can react with that emotional, we have that choice. So how do you do that? Here in the stadium, we think about 40 yards at a time during practice and then winning on Saturday and eventually getting to a national championship game or to a playoff game. But in real life, in the classroom, in the nonprofits where we're working, in our businesses, in our houses, it's not any different. Here's the formula that we can memorize in 10 seconds. E plus R equals O. A lot of you have probably seen this. An event happens, which is anything in life. We respond. The R is what we can control, and then we get an outcome. Canfield talked about this back in 2004. Brian and Tim Kite talk about that it's not just a quick fix tool. You have to change the way you think, the way you work, or it won't work. So the event happens. We either respond above a line to get the good outcome or below for the questionable outcome. And then in this book, in Urban Meyer's book, he outlines these 6 steps that you can take. Well, I can't remember anything, and I've never had to even memorize these 6 steps because when I've taken the time to press pause, step 1, slow down and think. Step 2, get my mind in that right productive state. I've never had to go any further because I know that person that's tailgating me, maybe they've got a sick child and they're trying to go pick them up. Maybe they've had some other emergency and I'm just putzing along and maybe I should get out of their way. Those 2 things right there can change your response. So you get a good response instead of a reaction. It's a game changer. Key question, what does the situation require of me? Your executive brain, above the line response, thoughtful, or your gut reaction. We have that choice every single day. In my graduate coursework, I tell students this is the most important thing I'll say the entire semester. Your R, what you choose, response or reaction. Your R creates an event for somebody else. Let that soak in for a second. Tim spoke at our annual conference and extension, 8-9 years ago. I still remember this. It is so powerful. And I remembered it that day taking my daughter to learn to drive. I love this quote from the coach. Success isn't determined by the situations we experience. It's determined by how we choose, active choice, to manage that response instead of that reaction. Homework. I got to give you some homework, right? Think about how you will respond the next time somebody's tailgating you. From the stadium, thanks for stopping in. See you next time.